welcome back, Megan, and welcome to the other guys from Vexed. Nice to see you again at the Razor's Edge. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're good, thank you.
Yeah, not bad.
Looking forward to Christmas.
Are you all organised? Are you? I think you're in England. You're okay today. You've got the thumbs up from the Prime Minister to actually do what you're doing until next week, anyway.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, they say that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly the view, isn't it? You haven't got a clue from day to day. How have you been coping in the last few weeks? Anyone had it? Have you been COVID free or?
Free, aren't we?
Yeah,
I don't know anyone.
We've just about dodged it, I think.
Yeah, we've been quite lucky, really. What about you?
Well, ironically, I brought it home from Bloodstock. It was absolutely fine. It wasn't a problem at all. Yeah, a couple of days of a headache and that was about it. So yeah, I'm quite happy I had it early on.
Right.
So Megan, the last time I talked to you, it was slightly warmer, if I remember rightly. It was about 15, 20 degrees warmer than it is today. But there was a lot obviously going on in the build up to Bloodstock. Obviously, you had the family situation, which obviously sadly came to a conclusion very quickly after Bloodstock. So condolences for that. And I wondered how you were doing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been pretty rough, but Bloodstock is something that he really wanted me to do, and he was very cross when I said that I didn't want to go. So the fact that he told me I had to, and it was an order, and he managed to watch the set actually, because I FaceTimed my mum, and our manager sort of stood on stage and he watched the set. So yeah, it was hard, but out of what could have happened, it was the best case scenario. So yeah, we're just kind of trying to carry on and enjoy Christmas. Be weird, but yeah, these guys keep laughing, keep me sane-ish.
And the event itself, I popped into the tent and watched a couple of your songs, and it was bouncing in there. Let's be fair. I mean, considering we talked about the fact that it was going to be a Sunday and everyone was going to be knackered, it looked like everyone had so much Red Bull that they just couldn't stop. So how was it for you guys in terms of the whole event and the show? And was it as you expected? Was it more? How did it feel?
I think from a crowd perspective and energy, it was sick. But behind the scenes, we had a lot of sound issues. We were trying to keep the show going and not kind of let the cracks that were going on show. We had a lot of on-stage sound issues. My mic kept cutting and things like that. But we kind of just thought, it's the only show we've got. So we've got to just kind of power through and just enjoy it anyway. And we did.
It could have been a lot worse than it was anyway, especially with the technical issues we had going on.
Yeah.
They could have properly messed up, or the backing tracks could have gone, any little thing like that could have happened.
Yeah.
So we done all right really to keep it going and manage to power through the set without any major problems, really, considering what was going on.
Yeah.
Did that cause any kind of friction and not friction? Did it impede your performance at all because you were conscious of it, or did you just say, fuck it, we'll get on with it?
For me personally, it was a fuck it, I'm going to enjoy this. And I just kind of let go of the fact that there's nothing I could do about the fact that my mic was cutting out. So just go for it and hope for the best. I don't know about you guys.
I think it did affect my playing a little bit.
Yeah.
That she could not hear shit, which makes it quite difficult to play guitar. But
you sounded good though.
I powered through. I still had a good time regardless. Mainly because, like I said, it was our only show. I'd been having a good weekend before that anyway, so I was in a fairly good mood. So yeah, we managed to get through it, and overall, I was fairly happy with our set, to be honest.
Yeah. Have you seen the whole thing played back yet? Have you had the release or?
Yeah, we watched some of it. We would have loved to have because of the technical issues that we had,
yeah,
it was just like, it's not an actual representation of us because the sound kept cutting out. But if that hadn't have cut out, it would have been, you know, gorgeous. But it was, you know, just something that happens to a lot of bands. It happens to the best of them. And put that to one side, we actually had a lot of fun, and it was the outlet we needed at the time.
Just to add on as well, it wasn't sound issues on our end. It was
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't us.
Our team were fine.
yeah. What was the whole experience like being a band at Bloodstock, being on that Sophie stage? Were you treated well? Were you looked after?
Yeah, it was really weird because when we got there, we got given a rider and stuff, which we're not used to.
Well, not a nice rider. We're not used to nice riders. No.
Yeah.
Danny Filth did our dressing room, so I had strong words with him. I didn't really. So yeah, I never get given a dressing room anyway. So the fact that somebody was like, "Yeah, you can't have your dressing room, I'm afraid," because Danny Filth's in there, we were like, "We got a dressing room."
Yeah.
So it didn't. Everyone was lovely. And yeah, we just came off stage buzzing, and everyone was really, really kind. It was like the escape I personally needed at that point. I think we all needed it, actually.
Yeah,
so it was good.
My money would have been on you over Danny Filth, to be honest, Megan. But so, what about the rest of the weekend? Did you get to see any other bands? Did you spend a bit of time there? Did you have a look at what was going on?
I stuck around, didn't you?
I was there the whole weekend.
So,
yeah.
That's amazing that you had any energy left by the Sunday to play, because I was absolutely knackered by Sunday.
I just had a few more coffees and I was good to go. Yeah. I did say I'd take the night before our set, but
that did not happen.
Yeah, I ended up and I did the entire weekend, which is not my fault at all. Yeah, neither do I.
Brilliant. So obviously you'd released the album a couple of months before you played at Bloodstock, the end of May, and looking at your Facebook page yesterday, it's starting to pop up in a couple of the old end of year polls and top 10s and stuff. So congratulations on that for a debut album. Obviously getting it up in the top numbers is always good to experience. How's the reaction been since Bloodstock? Has there been any kind of push? I saw some comments about people that had seen you and were looking to get tickets for the tour.
It went, like, considering that we were a bit concerned because of the sound issues, like the love and response we got was just overwhelming. Like, obviously I was having an emotional time as it is, but when people were like saying how good it was just like, it brought me to tears. It was so good, and getting, like, finally having some recognition after a really shit couple of years being locked down and not being able to play shows and all of that. It was mind-blowing, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really weird.
We definitely gained a few fans from Bloodstock, which is like what we asked for.
Yeah. Sure. It was great. And on end of year lists is like crazy weird, because we, like, in the grand scheme of things, we are a really small band, and like our debut, a lot of the songs from it are really old, and we've kind of like written new stuff because it got delayed. So like the fact that people actually give a shit about something that we wrote ages ago and we obviously still love, but we have moved on from it, was just mind-blowing, really.
Yeah. So some of the figures that I saw on your Spotify end of year stream and all that, I mean, over 1 million streams and 136 countries that people had listened to your music in. Got to be honest, I wasn't even sure there was 136 countries. So that's quite astonishing, isn't it, for a band, as you say, that you're still quite small. So that obviously proves that the word is getting out. Yeah, it's insane. Like, it's kind of hard to comprehend it, especially with only having done the one show. But I think
kind of started to sink in a bit more when we could see people at Bloodstock singing along to the songs and stuff. We were like, oh shit, actually, yeah, people do know this.
Well, I think that's what's made the set a Bloodstock Cross, was seeing the reaction of people. How many people are there? How many people are shit? How many people are going mental to it? That's really what kept us afloat. I reckon if we had a bit of a shit crowd, there wasn't many people there, and they were quite, not a lot of movement going on. Along with our technical issues, I reckon we would have come off stage being really disheartened by it. But the fact everyone was still loving it is sort of what made it. It sort of redeemed us for the sound issues that we had.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were obviously on a Sunday, so you had competition from the main stage, which obviously bands on the Wednesday and Thursday didn't have. So, I think we were talking, Megan, before about if you'd had the Thursday, you would have drawn the crowd because there was nothing on the main stage and there was just the new blood. But the fact that there was some pretty big guns going off on the stage as well, and you were still packing the tent out is real testimony. So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
I think we clashed with Bleed From Within.
Yeah. And band as well. So massive. It was very humbling.
Yeah.
Tried not to look too much at the crowd and just close my eyes.
Yeah. So the reason obviously that we're doing this little interview is because fingers crossed, and I think it's going to be fingers crossed, is that you've got 5 dates coming up in a month's time. Let's talk as if you're going to do them, because fingers crossed you will. Obviously that's your I'm assuming they're your first dates since Bloodstock, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So you've picked Birmingham, Bristol, London, Manchester, and Glasgow. So you've got some pretty big centres of music. Is that who chose the venues? Is it just the way that it ran? How did it work out when you were picking locations?
So because of COVID, we had to be very limited to what venues we could take and blah, 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 all that sort of thing. So our booking agency did that for us. We didn't get a say in that.
Yeah.
Obviously, get comments of people saying like, oh, why didn't you come here and why didn't you come there? And it's totally understandable, because if we were booking it in a normal current, world, we would have booked it everywhere. But because the world is on fire, we had to leave it to the people that know what they're doing. So we've picked venues that were, they picked venues that were sort of evenly spread out, to try as fair as possible, really. But it'll be good. I'm excited to go to Scotland again, actually.
Yeah, and it looks like you're actually doing it in some kind of reasonable order, so you're not like doing London, Glasgow, then Bristol or something. You've actually got it in a kind of chronological run, if you like, so you don't actually have too much traveling in between, which can be an absolute nightmare, can't it?
Yeah, it can, but we're quite lucky because we've got our sound engineer Tom. He likes to do a lot of the driving, and his bloodstream is literally just Monster Energy, so he'll like smash out 300 miles in like stupid time.
Yeah. So what about the venues that you've got? Obviously there's some well, they're all pretty classic venues for hard rock, metal, etc. You've got the Black Heart in London, Satan's Hollow in Manchester, the Cat House up in London, and the Exchange, which is only half an hour away from me. So if it goes on, I'll be there. Have you played any of those venues before?
Played Black Heart a few times.
Yeah.
I don't think we've played the others, have we?
Satan's Hollow.
Oh yeah, Satan's Hollow we've done.
Yeah.
We've done those two. Black Heart is kind of like, I mean, we haven't really got a hometown venue, but the Black Heart is probably the closest one to being a hometown one. So that's probably the one we're not most looking forward to, but like that's got the most anticipation around it, because got a lot of family and friends coming to that one.
Yeah. Okay. And you've picked I'm not quite sure. I think there was something on your Facebook about you were asking for suggestions for your support bands, and you picked Graphic Nature and the Human Veil, who are both ferocious opening acts to have. So was that your choice? I've missed whether or not that was your choice or whether it was nomination. How did it work?
I have been a fan of the Human Veil for ages, and when we kind of figured that we were going to do a tour, I was sort of fighting their corner from day one, because I'm a big fan of them and really wanted them to support. But obviously they had other stuff booked, and then it fell through, and then they had other stuff booked, but it kind of all aligned to work out in everyone's favour, and then they said yes, so that was good. And Graphic Nature, we met them at the Heavy Music Awards, didn't we? And they were really nice guys. We were just like, yeah, of course. It just instantly worked. So
they're just another band we want to see live as well.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's a win-win for us, because we get to watch for free. For free.
Yeah. Not for free. We have to a lot of money to drive there.
So how much planning can you actually do at the moment? Because obviously it would be remiss of me not to talk about the fact that there is a shadow hanging over gigs again, given what's happening at the moment. I mean, can you just get as prepared as you can and then wait and see what happens? Is that where you are?
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
limbo.
yeah, we've got to keep going with a positive attitude for our own sakes, but got to be realistic at the same time. Like, we're rehearsing like mad, and we're sorting out our light show and like on stage aesthetic and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting ready as it's happening, but we are kind of prepared for the fact that it might not. I mean, I kind of do worry about our mental health if it doesn't go ahead, but you know, we've done it before. Well, we may have to face it again.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of your set list, obviously you haven't been able to tour the album, so I'm assuming that you're still going to have to play. I'm going to say have to, but the way you talked obviously earlier on, you have to play old songs again. But I mean, obviously people will want to see the songs off Culling Culture, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we've got a big planned. There's a couple that we haven't put in, but we may put in for sort of extra songs if we're allowed to do them at the end, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's heavy because we've been trapped indoors for so long. Like, we just want to go out and play our heavy stuff and lose our minds. So yeah, we've got a fat heavy set. It'll be good fun.
I wonder whether to ask for the photo pass for the gig in the exchange if you've got that such a heavy set, because there's no photo pit, so it could be a bit tasty, but we'll see. So apart from that, have you guys been out to any live gigs? Have you managed to get any live music as fans? What have you been to see?
Go on, Will.
I don't know. Oh yeah, we saw Malevolence last week.
Yeah,
that was in Oxford.
Yeah.
That was sick because that was sold out, and that was just so good.
Yeah.
And I saw, or we saw Ash Nico at, where was it again?
O2 Kentish Town.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, I managed to catch the Don Broco show in London back in November.
What's your view on the because I've been to a few gigs. I went to see Bosk last week with Dune and Orange Goblin on Thursday night in Cardiff with 150 people, it was I've never seen a crowd of that small, stage diving and everything in a small venue. Have you picked up any vibes that people are actually really desperate to have live music, so when they do it, they really go in for it? Or that's like I'm getting, but it's interesting to know from you guys as well.
At the Malevolence show, there were we couldn't actually get into the venue because it was so jammed. People were blocking the doors and people were sat up on the side of the walls. And then when they came on, they were crowd surfing, moshing, like nobody's holding back. They're going absolutely mental. And it's really like kind of emotional to see, because you think that people might be a bit wary or a bit too nervous to just get into it. But I don't think people give a fuck anymore and are just fully throwing themselves into it.
Yeah. I think it plays a part. Obviously, there's a good chance there'll be more restrictions coming up, or maybe even lockdowns and that. So a lot of people are probably thinking they might not see another live show for quite some time. So they're going extra mental. So they don't really.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's going to be the case for January if we do get play it.
Yeah, sure. I fingers crossed for you as well, because obviously it's the kind of gig that people will let off anyway. So it kind of is cathartic for everyone, isn't it? So obviously fingers crossed for that. So just as a final wrap up, what have you got planned after that? Have you got much in the pipeline? Obviously you've talked about new music and things, and where are you with that?
New music is probably the thing we're most focused on at the moment, because of culture for us is quite old. Obviously for everyone else it's new, but for us it's old. We're kind of excited to bring our grown up, matured music out soon. So we love Culling Culture, and it needs to be played live and it needs to be toured, but we're excited to kind of show everyone what comes next, which is, you know, bigger and angrier. And we're working really hard on that, and hopefully we'll get some nice tours as well in the sort of spring and summer and festival season. But unfortunately, yet again, everything has a question mark over it.
Indeed it does. So that's something to look forward to. So let's do the kind of end of year thing. Give me an album, each of you, that's really impressed you this year, something that would fit in your top 10. What's really grabbed you? So a album or albums?
Go on.
Silent Planet.
Yeah.
Can't actually remember what the album's called.
Iridescent.
Iridescent.
Yeah, Silent Planet's one is probably the same for me.
Probably agree, to be honest.
Yeah. Like there's been some absolute incredible albums that have come out this year, no doubt. But like the Silent Planet one for us is kind of just like, it's been what we've been listening to the most. It's just so heavy and our cup of tea.
Sure. Great. Well, all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for your time again. It's nice to see you again, and fingers crossed for January. If things go ahead as we want them to, I'll see you in Bristol. In the meantime, I'll wish you a good Christmas. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.